5262. Welcome back. What's cooking today from CRN in Southern California, nationwide and coast to coast, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining us here on the show. Michael Horn along with Paul Stern. Bobby Egan is with us. He has written a book called Eating with the Enemy, and he is an owner of a barbecue restaurant in New Jersey.
Actually, our copy says barbecue joint.
Yeah, let's find out. Bobby Egan, welcome to the broadcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mike, Paul.
Hey, good to have you with us. Now, tell us about this story. You actually, well, give us your background a little bit. You dropped out of high school. Start us out at the beginning a little bit.
Well, I was a knock-around guy. Came, born in the, mobbed-up town. Blue-collar guy. I was cutting Bobby Vesco's lawn when I was a kid. That's the type of, town we grew up in. And, I had an interest in POW MIAs and prepared myself to go to Vietnam. The war ended before, I was able to go. But I had an interest in, overseas, the Vietnamese people. And I took an interest into the POW MIA issue. I just couldn't, understand how all those men so quickly, could have been released. I mean, because it did happen quick in '73, when the war, in fact, still wasn't over. I mean, North and South Vietnam were divided still. We still had troops in South Vietnam. So at the end of the war, I started investigating, live sightings on POW MIAs over in Vietnam. And the way that I got into Vietnam was through the UN. I developed a relationship with the ambassador of the Vietnamese ambassador to the United Nations, his mission there, and developed that kind of relationship over a number of years, and was invited to Hanoi, and I started facilitating some research on POW MIAs. So the long or the short of it, I testified before the '92 Senate Select Committee with the Vietnamese official Lê Quang Khai. He had defected, testified about a secret prison system in Vietnam that held POWs, so ended my relationship with Vietnam. The North Koreans inquired to the Vietnamese how they walked through the normalized relationship process. Vietnam recommended me to the North Koreans, and so began our relationship.
So now what ended your relationship with the Vietnamese people?
Well, I brought one of their high-ranking officials out to defect. He was a student at Columbia. He was, a Vietnamese government official. He divulged state secrets, which is a capital crime in Vietnam, before the 1992 Senate Select Committee on POW.
So
but the long or the short of it, I did a lot more work with Vietnam than just, my interest, which was the POWs. I helped them through the normalized relations process.
And you did this on your own? Are you doing this with the government help or anything? This was you doing this?
Well, certainly you cultivate, interest from, governmental intelligence agencies, and I cooperated with them. I mean, certainly I'm a patriot, and, any information that I can pass on to my government, I certainly did. But, Vietnam was one game, and then when I walked into the arena in North Korea, it was quite different. The FBI kind of pushed my hand and made me an operative with the counterintelligence squad I-28 over in New York.
Wow.
They weren't going to let me go into North Korea all alone. I had a lot more liberties.
So you go into North Korea. You go into North Korea now. So now you're out of Vietnam. You go into North Korea, and now you're getting help from the government. And so what is your mission when you go into North Korea?
Well, it grew into a multifaceted mission. What happened was my, first instinct was to develop a relationship with these people, which I did, through their UN mission. And the one person in particular I became very close with was Ambassador Han from North Korea. Him and I developed a 15-year relationship together. We worked on many issues, and all along, I was passing information back to U.S. intelligence. At the time, North Korea was the only black hole in U.S. intelligence. And I walked through that hole. And I was able to supply, pertinent information back to, the CIA, the Department of Defense, counterintelligence of the FBI, Squad I-28. And all along, I became very, very good friends on a personal level with Ambassador Han from North Korea.
So how did you do
humanitarian efforts.
Yeah, but Bobby, how did you do this? Because we always see, the North Koreans look like they're pretty serious people here. How did they start to, how did you gain their confidence? How did they go in? Did you go in as a restaurateur? Did you go in just as an everyday person? What was the deal?
Well, I went in as an everyday person, somebody that had a track record with Vietnam. There weren't a lot of people at the time that, wanted to deal with the North Koreans. So I was on a very short list, as you'd say. Matter of fact, when the Pentagon heard that I was, the North Koreans reached out to me, I mean, their, unofficial statement was, "Oh my God, they must be desperate."
Wow. Wow.
And some people wouldn't take that as a compliment. I did, simply because I knew that they had to stoop down to this level, okay, to get some type of attention, to get somebody to recognize that, they're a sovereign state and they desperately want normalized relations with the U.S., and they're willing to go to any effort to get it.
Now, you have a New Jersey, as Paul mentioned, a barbecue joint is what you've got there. And so your book is Eating with the Enemy, How I Wage Peace with North Korea from My Barbecue Shack in Hackensack. Did you use food to go ahead and extend the olive branch?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Everybody likes to break bread. So certainly there was a lot of times. Look, they're here. The North Koreans are here. They're half a world away. They're in a hostile environment. And what better host than a guy that owns a restaurant, that has the FBI and the CIA sitting in this parking lot? They wanted contacts with the U.S. Well, the contacts were right in my parking lot. We'd be eating, and U.S. intelligence services were right outside, So the North Koreans wanted this. They wanted to be recognized. But also, they're here. There's not much to do. So the fishing and the hunting trips and the ball games, it filled a lot of downtime for them. And they're human beings just like us. They get bored, too. They get lonely. They get bored. They start missing their families. So I filled the role as a host, for the 16 years I was with them. And we worked on a lot of very, very important issues, We worked on issues, the 1996 submarine incident, deja vu all over again as we stand today. As I say in the book, that, I worked with Clinton's White House.
Wow.
The Colonel Jack Pritchard over National Security Council. I had the South Koreans in my restaurant, the North Koreans in my restaurant. Jack Pritchard, the chief negotiator during that crisis, was in my restaurant. So it was a place where everybody can come together, and we can try to, even though they sometimes couldn't talk directly, they can talk through me.
Hey, Bobby, is the restaurant still open today?
Oh, absolutely, sir. Yeah, that's my day job.
What's your website where you can get the book and find out about the restaurant?
EatingWithTheEnemy.org.
EatingWithTheEnemy.org. Is the book available at Amazon and bookstores everywhere?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Amazon, Barnes & Noble.
Bobby Egan, the author of EatingWithTheEnemy.org. Check that out. The book is Eating with the Enemy. Go to the website, EatingWithTheEnemy.org. Thanks for being with us, Bobby Egan.
LA's